Hi guys, if you're new here, my name is Sam and I make videos about makeup, chronic illness, and whatever I want. And we're here with my March favorites. If you're new to my favorites videos, I try to group everything semi-together. This month it's fairly makeup heavy again, I suppose, or beauty heavy, I should say. So that's where I'm going to start. The first thing I don't have with me because I'm almost out and I need to reorder it is Cocoa Floss. I've seen a lot of influencers talk about this, and usually when I see people have like affiliate codes with things that seem gimmicky, I don't often bite, like HelloFresh or something like that. But something about this just stuck out to me, and I take my dental health very seriously, so I was interested, and on Amazon you could order their like sample pack for $15 or something. And I will say, it is fairly expensive dental floss, but my gums have never been healthier. I don't know what this stuff does. It is like a thick floss made of cocoa fiber, and it just gets stuff out of my teeth that no other floss ever has. You floss with it and you're kind of like, oh, that's disgusting. I had no idea that was like in my mouth. Now, I don't know how it works on like super crowded teeth or if you have like really narrow spacing. So I can't attest to how well it would be or snag or anything. I will say it doesn't shred like regular dental regular dental floss does, which I appreciate. Now they claim it works on all gap sizes, whether it's tight or loose or like far spaced. I don't know exact verbiage there, but I really like it and it's something I'm going to continue to buy. I will say it says like the sample pack, each sample should have lasted about 2 weeks, so you would have got 8 weeks. I got about 9.5 weeks out of my sample pack. Maybe I wasn't using as big of pieces as they did when they were testing it, but you definitely get what they say you do out of a package, which makes it more worth the money. I was kind of hesitant if I would have run out quicker, but also just seeing like how healthy my gums are and like how much stuff it gets from in between my teeth, that alone is what will keep me being a regular customer as long as it exists. Next thing that's not exactly makeup related, it's more like beauty related, is officially having dye-free hair. My hair is up today, but there's officially no dye left in it. It's all my hair. It needed a trim, and I realized if I just trimmed it to the normal length, I'd have about 2 inches of dye left. And I just kind of wanted to get it over with. Like, I was tired of just going little by little, so I just cut off an extra 2 inches. My hair is shorter than I normally would have cut it, but I'm just happy that it is just all my natural hair color again. This is the first time in my life where I feel like my natural hair color suits me. I don't know if it's just an age thing, if my hair color has changed with time, maybe a little bit of both, but I'm just very happy to have kind of like a neutral base that just flatters my skin tone and my eyes. Black was getting way too harsh as I was aging, and I wanted something low maintenance. What is more low maintenance than your own hair? Now let's get into the makeup that I have here. The first is, honestly, most of this is going to be Oden's Eye. First thing is the Sea Talk palette, which is Oden's Eye and Lauren Mae Beauty. I tend to keep the outer covers of Oden's Eye. Now these aren't different, but in some of their other stuff, the outer package is a little different than the inside package, and their art is just too cool. So this is the only one of the 3 that I bought that I've used every color more than once. I kind of wanted to finish up winter with these cool tones. I've been in a really big cool tone mood recently, and I just love this so much. In my last video, I was wearing this. I was wearing these 3 colors, so these 2 mattes and the shimmer all over the lid, and I think I did this in the inner corner. I don't remember exactly, but I love this palette. I know some people, rightfully so, are a little skeptical of Oden's Eye because so many influencers have codes and it seems like everyone's just like talking them up a lot. And there's like a misconception because they claim to be a Swedish brand, but they're actually like Chinese, I guess. I don't know what's happening there, but I only bought 2 palettes during the Black Friday sale. It was my first experience with them in case I didn't like it or they were hyped up. And one of them is my other favorites this month, and it's the Hella palette by Angelica and Oden's Eye. And this, see what I mean? Like sometimes it's different, and I like the black and white version of this too. I'm wearing this palette today. Oden's Eye formula is really what people hype it up to be, and I know not everything works for everybody, but Oden's Eye is quickly becoming one of my favorite brands. I have 5 palettes by them now, and they all become a favorite. Their mattes blend with little to no effort. I think their shimmers are quite impactful, and amazing. So the next thing on my favorites list is also going to be Oden's Eye, and they don't make these anymore. I bought them off of my friend, and it's the Alva 2 and Solmain highlighter palettes. I'm wearing that today as well. I'm wearing the Solmain one, and I combined these 2 shades. Now, some of these are glittery, which I am generally not a fan of, but it isn't the thick, heavy glitter, so it doesn't really stick to my texture. But my favorite shade actually came broken because my mailman is a turd Ferguson and just threw the package. But it was so soft it pushed back in there nicely, and some of it actually ended up on my hand, so it isn't glittery, which makes it my favorite, but it's just this like almost like duochrome. I'm obsessed with that one specifically in that palette. And then this one in this palette, sorry if I'm like shining you. God, what am I doing? This one is super glittery, so I don't use it too often, but I love this one. It's a similar vibe to that other one where it's pretty much like kind of a duochrome. I've been loving these. I am just pretty much obsessed with Oden's Eye at this point. My only complaint is I wish they did have a shop that stocked it here in the United States because their shipping is so annoying. It's so slow. I haven't had issues with it. Like everything I've gotten has come packaged really nicely and everything, but like it just takes a really long time, which is kind of frustrating, but that's my only complaint. The next thing I'm also wearing, I'm pretty much wearing everything that is makeup that I'm going to list. I'm wearing this blush. It's Krista by Benefit. It looks incredibly intimidating, but as you can see on my face, it doesn't have to be. I'm going to swatch it for you. You can definitely layer it to be like super bold, but if you blend it out, it's just a nice pink, and that's even a lot. When you use a brush, it doesn't even come out that vibrant unless you layer it. I'm a little more vibrant in person. The lights do wash me out, but I love this. I picked up 3 blushes during the 21 Days of Beauty, and I wanted things that were, I got 2 that were unique to my collection and 1 that was just another orange because I really like orange blushes, and it looked like a slightly different finish than the one that I already have. I wanted a bright pink. The only other bright pink I have is like a blue leaning pink, so I wanted something more for summer that wasn't cool toned, and this is definitely it. It's got warmth. My only complaint with these blushes is they have a very strong like perfumey smell. They smell sort of like candy mixed with shampoo. I don't know, I'm not a fan. And I'm not necessarily against scented stuff, I just don't like stuff that's scented like this. However, I've used this at least 5 times since I got it. Every time I've done my makeup, I've worn that. The next thing, I do like that it's scented is the Jaclyn Cosmetics Pressed Bronzer. I got the shade Vitamin D. This smells like toffee. And I know not everyone agrees, but if you're going to scent stuff, I want it scented like food. This just smells so good. It's also not strong, so like once you put it on your face, you don't really smell it. The Benefit smell does go away fairly quickly, but it's much stronger than this one. I know we all have mixed feelings about Jaclyn Hill. She's always getting herself into something or another. But this bronzer is so good. I'm also wearing that today. It builds up really nicely, but it's not too pigmented to where you can go overboard, at least not with this shade. This shade is a neutral, and I find with my skin tone, I am light, neutral, olive, leaning hair, maybe like desaturated yellow, I guess you would call that. So I like neutral bronzers because they aren't too orange on me. And if I have to pick, I'll get them slightly yellow leaning, but I would say most neutral bronzers just sort of lean a little more yellow. But this I got also half off during the 21 Days of Beauty. I don't know if I mentioned, but it's so good I would pay full price for this. This next thing, I don't know if I've already put in a favorites, but I'm putting it in this favorites too because I can't stop wearing it, and it is the Victoria Beckham Posh Gloss in Bikini. I'm wearing it now over Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, but it separates really easily, which is probably a main complaint. Like you can see it's sort of separating. Well, maybe you can't see. That's empty. It separates super easily, but you just mix it up and it's good to go. This is an incredibly flattering shade on its own, over lip liner, over a lipstick. It's a very light, pale, I would say like neutral pink. I learned about this from Khaki and I just can't get it off. This will be a regular repurchase. Like I said, maybe I mentioned it in a past favorites, but you know it's a favorite if it shows up more than once. That's all I have for beauty, so let's move on to just entertainment. The first thing I have, Real Housewives of Orange County. I'm sure you're wondering, do I watch anything but the Real Housewives? No, not really, unless it's like a crime show of some kind. I like trashy reality TV. This came out when I was in high school, and I'm pretty sure it was the first Housewives franchise, right? So I watched some of it, but then trashy reality TV kind of took off, and we had The Simple Life and things that I was a little more drawn to at the time. So I got behind, but I'm catching up, and I have to say this is definitely like top 2 cities for me. It's so good. Next is an Amazon Prime show. It's called Swarm. It's like a horror comedy. It's not super horror, like monsters, jump scare. It's horror in like the psychological sense. I saw someone recommend this on Instagram and say to go into it not knowing anything, so I didn't look anything up. Except I went to doesthedogdie.com to see if there were any like things that I don't drive with in the show, and there wasn't. So it was good for me to watch, and I very much enjoyed it. It was different than the horror stuff I had been consuming. I think I had mentioned at one point somewhere that I kind of burned myself out watching all those movies in October, so I haven't really been watching movies. I've been liking TV shows where they're shorter. Swarm is 30 minutes an episode, so it's extra nice to not like lose my attention. I think I'm also just struggling with movies because like they're not very good anymore. At least not many of them. So I just haven't wanted to dedicate 2 straight hours to something that's just going to be meh. But this was definitely worth it. I watched it in 2 sittings. I think there's 8 episodes, so it's about 4 hours of TV. Highly recommend. The only thing that I wasn't a super fan of, but it still made my favorites despite it, is, with no spoilers, it's clearly using a real life example of something, but fictional. And it isn't supposed to only be about that one thing. However, they make it too realistic and go too hard that it's hard to realize it's about everything related instead of that one specific example. And so that kind of makes it a hair less enjoyable and more like, you have to keep reminding yourself it is about this whole subject and not just this one specific thing. And that sort of would be my one critique on it, but I still think it's really well done. I really liked the ending. I thought it was just great. There were actually a couple of moments in the show where you're like, wait, is this like based on a true story? Did this actually happen? But they were just that good. The next thing is music. We haven't had music in a while, huh? And it is Fall Out Boy. I'm sorry for the glare. So much for Stardust. This is my vinyl. I keep my vinyls in outer, can you see it better? Yeah. Outer packaging. I pre-ordered and got the Coke bottle clear from like my local indie store. I can't show it to you because this is not a safe environment, but I think you can kind of see a little here. And there's too much glitter floating around to touch a vinyl in this room. It's not safe. This is the Fall Out Boy we all know and love from high school or middle school, depending on how old you are. I like that they went back to their more original sound. I loved the new sound too. I like that they were a band who could change their sound, and as long as I wasn't being snobby, I very much enjoyed it. They are just a very like adaptive band, I suppose. This definitely went back to their roots. It's very emo. It sounds a little more pop, but when you listen to the lyrics, it's incredibly emo. I've listened to it countless times already. Very much enjoy it. Very much recommend giving it a listen if you are a Fall Out Boy fan and you haven't already. Alright, let's move on to this random miscellaneous thing. Mango has a plushie. Is it washing him out? Let me like zoom out. Look at how cute this is. So this is from a brand called Fluff Nest, and it's a puff pal. It's like a pillow. His name is Ham, and he's the flat frog. I got that because it looked exactly like Mango, and it's so soft, and that was kind of like one of my first gifts to myself for my birthday because I needed Mango as a plush. That's all I have to say about that. It's cute, and I like it, so it's a favorite for March. My last subject is going to be food. I only have like 2 things, and it's kind of more of like, I don't know. The first one is going to just be fun salad combinations. So I've been watching a lot of TikTok cooking stuff, chefs. I have no idea what they are. And I was very much inspired to just start like creating salads with like stuff that sounded good. And just kind of being a little experimental, and it has paid off. I found some great combinations. Like, I'll just throw some stuff together. I'll try new combinations. Like, recently, I make this homemade butter spread for garlic bread. That's like a few things mixed together, and I had some left over from the last time I made garlic bread a few weeks ago, and I decided to like cook some shrimp in it and then put that on a salad with quinoa and Italian dressing, and oh my goodness, it was so good. So I'm just like throwing all sorts of stuff together, and I definitely recommend giving that a try. It's fun to just think of new combinations, but also it keeps you from getting bored. I think the reason a lot of people don't like vegetables is like it's the same thing, or they don't add much flavor to it or anything. Like, have fun with your vegetables. They're still vegetables. And my last favorite is the Bolthouse Creamy Caesar Dressing. I am forever on the hunt for the best home Caesar dressing. If someone recommends it, I'll try it. I didn't buy this because it's like healthy, because it's made with yogurt. I bought it because someone just said it was the best Caesar dressing they've ever had at home, and I'm all for it. And I will say, this is definitely like top 2 for home Caesar dressings for me. My only complaint is it's not available at every grocery store. I've only been able to find it at Kroger near me. It seems like that's where this person found it as well. I found it on TikTok, of course. Where else do I find anything anymore? So look around. I don't know if it's like being discontinued or what's happening with it. I hope not, because it's very good. But if you're looking for a Caesar dressing, this is it. It is not too sour. It's not too savory. It's truly like the perfect combination for a bottle Caesar dressing. It will never top the homemade stuff or the stuff I've gotten from a local restaurant, but it is mighty close. And that's all I have for my March favorites. Let me know what your favorite things for March were, or if you like any of the things I listed as well. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time.